EOC 3 review, question number 1. Okay, a student has some $1 and $5 bills in his wallet. So immediately what you're going to do is you're going to say, all right, well, what am I going to let each of those equal? So if I'm going to let those equal, X is going to be my dollar bills, and then Y is going to be my $5 bills, yes? So if that's the case, then you are going to have how many total bills is in this pocket. So that's going to be X plus Y is equal to a total of 16 bills. And then the actual dollar amount that's in your pocket.
Aren't we supposed to report this for
people
who aren't here? Oh, okay.
Yep, I am. Okay, then you're going to have a $X plus 5Y is equal to the total worth that's in my pocket, which is 56. Do you remember that, yes or no? Okay, so from there, you can do this any way you want, a substitution or elimination. I'm going to choose to go ahead and multiply this top one by a -1, making that -X minus Y is equal to -16. X plus 5Y is equal to 56. And this is going to give you a 4Y is equal to a 40. To give you Y is equal to 10. So now that you know what Y is, you have 10 of those, and you have to have a total of 16. X plus 10 is equal to 16. So that leaves X to be 6. Do you understand or remember us doing that problem? We had talked about that previously, and the biggest thing was setting up the equations correctly. Yes? Any questions? Okay, that means the next one. Okay, next. Same exact concept, except you're going to have it based upon questions and then worth of the problems. So this is going to give you, question has 20 questions and it's 100 points. So there are your two equations, equal to 20, equal to 100. Okay, so what is? X is going to represent your true and false. Y is going to represent your multiple choice. So I'm going to have my pile of X true and false questions plus my pile of Y multiple choice questions, and that has to equal a total of 20 questions. Yes? Then we have how much they're worth. A true and false is worth 3X, a multiple choice is 11Y, and that is equal to my 100 points. Do we all understand that, yes or no? Do I care how you solve that? I do not from there, okay? Okay, next. Number 3, solve the system by elimination. Well, if you're solving this by elimination, that means I'm going to multiply this bottom equation by 5. So I have a 2X plus a 5Y is equal to 26. Then I'm going to have a 15X minus a 5Y is equal to 25. I'm going to add straight down. 17X is equal to a 51. Divide by 17 and then solve. Do we all understand that?
Why 5?
Equal to what?
Why 5?
Because I wanted a positive 5Y and a negative 5Y.
Okay.
Remember when we did this, we did least common multiples. Don't know why that happened. Least common multiples, my x's is plus or minus 6, because we're looking over here. And then least common multiples by y is plus or minus 5. Which one's smaller?
Okay.
We went ahead and stuck with the 5. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yeah.
So then once you find y, you plug it back in to find x. Any questions over that?
Do you have to use the smallest one, or does it matter?
I choose to use the smallest one because it's less multiplication. If I would have chosen to eliminate x, I'd have had to multiply the top and the bottom by a specific number. But I don't care. If it's easier for you to do that, then do it. I don't care. Whatever is easier for you guys. Okay, at this point, it's a matter of getting the information out of your head and doing the problem. Yes? Okay, next. This says to do by elimination, same exact concept. I would go ahead and multiply this top one by
2.
If I multiply this top equation by 2,
Must be -2.
Yeah.
so just a second. I have 8x plus 4y is equal to 10, and then the bottom one is 8x plus 4y is equal to 0. As soon as you see that you multiply them by a value and they get almost exactly the same thing, if I were to multiply it by a negative, those all cancel out and you have 0 is equal to -10. Is that a true or a false statement? It's a false statement, so therefore there is no solution. Do we understand that? Yes? We good? So if you have 5 equals 5, then it's infinitely many solutions. If you have 0 equals -10, it's false statement, meaning no solution. And if you can actually solve for a specific number, then you plug that number back in to find the other variable. Yes? Do we all understand that? Okay. Next. Same concept here. This is by substitution this time, though. Substitution means this is already solved, so I'm simply going to plug that in. So if I plug that in, I'm going to have 6x minus 2 times the 3x is equal to 0. So 6x minus 6x is equal to 0, so 0 is equal to 0. What can you tell me about my solutions? Infinitely many, right? There's going to be many. Yes? Okay, next. Number 6. This right here is negative b over 2a. You have to remember that. A model for a company's revenue from selling a software package is R of p is equal to negative 2.5p squared plus 700p, where p is the price in dollars of the software. What price will maximize the revenue? All they want you to do is say that h is equal to negative b over 2a. So this is going to be negative 700 divided by negative 2 times positive 2 times negative 2.5. Okay? So negative 700 divided by 5, which is a negative. The negatives cancel out, and that's going to give me $140. Yes? $140. So then you're going to take that amount, and then it says find the maximum revenue. Then you're going to plug that in. You're going to do R at 140. So that's negative 2.5 times 140 squared plus 700 times 140. And that's going to give you part B of what you need. Do we understand that, yes or no? Okay, now, you need to be very careful. It says to simplify your answer, and it says to maximize your revenue. They want you to round to the nearest cent, right? Because you're talking about money. In this case, it was $140, but whenever you're going to plug that in, it may be a little bit different. Yes? Okay, so that is that one. This one is exactly the same, except for you need to be very careful, and this says to round to the tens place. The tens place is 1 decimal place. Do we all understand that? So just be very careful with that. It's exactly the same philosophy, negative b over 2a, and then plug and chug to get the other one. Yes? We good? Okay, then this right here. Okay, you're going to have to do some factoring here. So how do we do some factoring? You're going to pull out a negative 11x. So this is going to give you an x squared minus an 8x, and then 165 divided by 11. I'm going to come over here and do that because it's going to take a while for it. I want to make sure I get the right number. 15. Plus 15, and then you got to bring this down. You're going to put this into 2 binomials. Factors of 15. I have to have a positive 15, so that's plus, plus, and minus, minus. They're both going to be minus, minus, and that's going to be 3 and 5. So this is what you're going to put in the box. Do we understand that, yes or no? Yes? Next, number 9, very similar thing, super easy to look at this and compare and contrast, because if I go ahead and I pull out my GCF, you know you're going to be pulling out a negative 2, so that's going to give you a x squared plus a 17x minus a 28, yes? Then you would go ahead and factor that down. You can automatically say, well, it's not going to be the first 2, yes? And then from there, you're going to have to get negative 2, 3x, and x. Factors of 28 are going to be 7 and 4 that you're going to use. I have to subtract. Okay, so if I'm subtracting, I need to get over the value 28. So I'm going to try to put a 7 here. Ooh, that's not going to work, is it? At this point, you could do this, but if you're working smarter rather than harder, I would literally say that this is 7x. and that's negative 12x. This is negative 4, and there's the 21. Like, you could actually do this. I know I did not multiply right, did I? Come on. What did I do? 56. Okay. So if we go ahead and do this right here, if you FOIL these back in, you can see if you can get the original problem, and it'd be a lot easier for you to do it in that manner as well. Do we all understand that? So work smarter rather than harder and do the actual FOIL to get the 17. Then I said minus 4x to give you the 17x, which is going to give me, which one did I can't even figure out which one I wrote on now. Sorry, guys. Okay, so that's gone, that's gone. What's that?
You were writing on both of them.
I know, that's why if you couldn't see. This gives you the 7x, this gives you the negative 12x, that one's wrong, it has to be D. Does that make sense? It has to be. Okay? Do we all understand what I did there? Okay, sorry about that. And you write on too fast on it, all over the place, you can't see. And go to the next one. Rewrite the function with polynomial in factored form. Now, there's a couple things that I want you to do here. It says to graph, so the way you can do this, totally fine, you can do Desmos. Okay? It's totally fine if you do this because this is what they're wanting you to do. Y equals 2x squared plus 9x minus 11. Y equals 2x squared, what was it?
Minus 11.
Minus
11.
Well, there was something in there. Plus 9x?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you click on this anywhere, it gives you these right here. Do you see that? So those are what you can go ahead and put in there. You can say negative 5.5 and negative 1. And then it says to write it in factored form. So if you're writing it in factored form, you actually have to factor this into two binomials. Okay? So with that being said, what do I expect you to do? Y equals 2x and x. Factors of 11 are 1 and 11. So you're going to have a plus 9 here and a minus 1 there. And that's what you're going to put in there. You already have the y equals there, yes? So since you already have the y equals there, you just simply are going to have parentheses 2x plus 11 and then x minus 1. Do we all see that, yes or no? So yes, the calculator will get you the answers, but you still have to factor this to get it right. Okay? Any questions over what I just did on that one? Okay. Number 12 is exactly the same way. Number 13 is the discriminant. If we're doing the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. A is 1, B is 6, C is 1. So you are literally going to have 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1. 36 minus 4 gives you a 32. 32 is what you're going to put in there, yes? So if you put 32 in there, it's going to ask you for something else, I think, afterwards, but I don't remember. It says one remaining part. So then how many real solutions does the quadratic formula have? Over there, the orange poster, it gives you the quadratic formula. Your options are going to be 2 real, 1 real, or no real. If it's no real, then that means it's negative. Okay? If it's 1 real, then that means it's going to be equal to 0. Since it is greater than that, I'm going to have 2 real solutions. Okay? Same one with this right here. Determine the number of real solutions we talked about. Use the quadratic formula on here. The quadratic formula requires the entire thing this time, but in order for you to do this, you have to first set this thing equal to 0. So you're going to have a 3x squared minus 20x minus 7 is equal to 0. Okay? So that means A is going to be equal to 3, B is equal to negative 20, and C is equal to negative 7. So your formula is negative B plus or minus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So you have a negative times a negative 20 plus or minus a then negative 20 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 7, all over 2 times 3. Does everybody see that, yes or no? Double negative creates the positive. This is going to be 400 plus 12 times 7 is going to give you an 84, all over 6. So 20 plus or minus the square root of 484 over 6. Do we all see that, yes or no? Help me out. What's the square root of 484? 22. So this is going to be 20 plus or minus 22 over 6. So from there, you are literally going to have 20 plus 22 is 42 to give you 7, and then negative 2 over 6 to give you negative 1/3. So those are your two answers. Do we understand that, yes or no? Okay. Anybody tell that was done with the mouse? Huh. Yes. Come on, that was, got it, smooth there. Okay, use the quadratic formula to solve. We just did that. This one right here, how do I do this? What do I multiply this by? Purple poster up there by the rules, by pencil poster. What do I do? What do I multiply this by? The conjugate. What is the conjugate of 2 minus I?
2 plus I.
It is 2 plus I. What you do to the bottom? You do to the top. So this gives you a 10 plus a 5i over, you do the first and you do the last, correct? Now what does I squared equal? I squared is equal to negative 1, so that's a plus 1 to give you 10 plus 5i over a 5 to give you 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2, 5i divided by 5 is going to be I. And if you read this, the directions want you to put an a plus bi form. So if it was not reducible, you would have literally have written it like this. Oopsie. Oopsie. Okay, but this can be reduced. So that's why you have to give me the box. Yes? Isn't it great? I don't know what it does this. It just does it for me sometimes. It's quite annoying. Don't know why, but you know, it's going to work out. Okay, same thing with this one. Square root of negative 98. This is going to be the square root of negative 1 times 98 divided by 2 is what? Somebody help me out with the calculator. 34? We are. Negative 49. That makes more sense. Losing my mind. 49 times 2, so this is the same thing as I squared times 49 times 2. Right? This comes out as 9, this comes out as a 9, or as a 7, 7. Look! So great. 7i squared roots of 2. Hey! I'm getting there. I have no idea how it's doing it, but we'll get there. Yeah. Okay, number 20 is exactly the same way. Any questions on this one right here? No? Overall, this one wasn't that bad. I did get with you guys to review EOC 2, correct? I did, so I got them following.